News from BBC. George Floyd death. Lawyer calls it premeditated murder. A lawyer for the family of George Floyd, whose death sparked unrest across the US, has accused a police officer of premeditated murder. Minneapolis policeman Derek Chauvin has been charged with third-degree murder, but lawyer Benjamin Crump told CBC News it was a case of first-degree murder. We think that he had intent. Almost 9 minutes he kept his knee in a man's neck that was beginning and pleading for breath, he said. Several US cities have imposed curfews. The Floyd cases has reignited US anger over police killing of black Americans. It follows the high-profile cases of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Eric Garner in Newark, and others that have driven the Black Lives Matter movement. The fact that Officer Kelvin kept his knee on his neck for almost 3 minutes after he was unconscious. We don't understand how that was not first-degree murder. We don't understand how all these officers haven't been arrested, Lawyer Crump said. 3 other officers present at the time have also since been sacked. For many, the outrage over George Floyd's death also reflects years of frustration over socioeconomic inequality and segregation, not least in Minneapolis itself. In video footage, Mr. Kelvin, 44, can be seen kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck for several minutes on Monday. Mr. Floyd, 46, repeatedly said that he is unable to breathe. There have been 5 nights of arson and looting in Minneapolis and the adjacent city of St. Paul, Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz said on Saturday he was deploying the full Minnesota National Guard for the first time since World War II. The National Guard, the U.S. Reserve military force for domestic emergencies, said the Sunday that 5,000 of its personnel had been activated in 15 states and Washington, D.C. It added that state and local law enforcement agencies remain responsible for security. In the CBC interview, Lawyer Benjamin Crump said that we now have the audio from the police body cam and we hear where one officer says he does not have a pulse. Maybe he should turn him on his side. But yet Officer Kelvin says, no, we are going to keep him in his position. In this position, that's the intent. Also, the fact that Officer Kelvin kept his knee on his neck for almost 3 minutes after he was unconscious. What's the latest on the protest? Thousands took part in an anti-racism protest march in central London on Sunday, defying social distancing rules imposed because of coronavirus. They gathered in Trafalgar Square. Then the crowd moved on to the US Embassy. Huge demonstrations have taken place in at least 30 cities across the US. They were largely peaceful on Saturday, but violence flared later in the day. One of the cities worst affected by unrest in Los Angeles, California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency in the city and activated the National Guard. The entire city is under a 20 to 5:30 curfew. curfew. Numerous shops have been looted, including on the famous retail avenues Melrose and Fairfax, while overhead footage showed fire burning. Earlier, police fired rubber bullets and hit protesters with batons, and hundreds of arrests have been made.